Hey there, welcome back to Ask Amy. I have a question today from Jeff. Jeff says, hi Amy, you just wrote, it was in an article I'd written online, suffering, including habits and anxiety, are helpful guides showing you where you're confusing fleeting experience with truth. He says, I get this conceptually, but what is the truth we're supposed to believe? If we're not to believe the noise, then what do we believe? So I love this question, Jeff. I think it's such a good question, such a natural place a mind goes. Like, tell me what to put in. What is the truth? What do I believe? What do I add? That's kind of always how our mind is talking and thinking. And maybe one of the hardest things there is for a mind, only for a mind, is to just let there be space in not knowing. So to let it be open, to explore, because it's so much easier to look at and name the noise, like you say. What is the noise? What is not true? It's very easy to see what's not true. What's not true is what's always changing. It's what's constantly in motion. It's what's constantly flipping back and forth and ebbing and flowing. And one minute it's here and looks and feels really real and true, and the next minute it's totally gone. It's our thoughts. It's our feelings. Not that they aren't true to us in a moment. I don't mean to discount the experience of them, but they are not the truth, because how can they be the truth if they're constantly changing? They're constantly coming and going. The truth, thoughts and feelings are going to be completely different from yours, and mine are going to be different from one minute to the next, and so are yours. So how is there the truth in that, So it's easy to see, or easier anyway, to see and recognize and get a feel for what's the noise, what's not the truth. Thoughts, feelings, identities, circumstances in life, constantly in flux. There is no circumstance that is a solid, stable thing. And there's certainly no circumstance that has any meaning to it, that has any judgment or value to it. There's just stuff happening. And then there are the stories that our mind comes in and applies to things that give it its perceived meaning, its perceived good, bad status, all of that. Not the truth. None of that is the truth ever. How can it be? It's constantly moving and changing, and your truth will be different from someone else's truth in every single moment. So physical objects even, that's another good example. Is this the truth? Well, today we might look at this and say, yes, this is a pen, but what's it going to look like in 100 years from now? Who knows? We don't know. What about when it quits writing? Is it still a pen? It is not as it appears. This appears to be a solid object to us, but as we know, just as is the case with thoughts and feelings and identities and circumstances, things are not as they appear. When we look again, or we look from another angle, or we look in a different way, or we look through a different filter of thinking, everything about this is completely different. So there is no the truth in this either. How can there be? How can there be when it can change and fluctuate from person to person, moment to moment, and it's always doing that? So it's easier, relatively easy, becomes easier as we get a feel for this, to spot what's not the truth, which is pretty much everything for sure. Experience, physical stuff, like all of this that we can see and that we can name is not the truth. Because again, as soon as we name it, there's so many concepts and meaning and so much stuff built into that it is not the truth. Which gets to your question, Jeff. I know you know that part, but you're asking, okay, so if all this stuff is not true, then what is true? Well, see, no one can answer that. And certainly you wouldn't want to listen to me if I said I could, or anyone who says they can tell you what the truth is. As soon as we try to put words to any of this, it's already not the truth, because now it's laden with all our ideas and our biases and our concepts. The words will change moment to moment. They would change from me to you to someone else telling you this. And it doesn't really matter. This is the thing. I think it's so hard for our mind to, again, it wants to fill. It wants to say, well, what is the truth? I need to know what that is. I think the biggest challenge and with the biggest reward for us is to say, I don't know. I don't know. It's not this. When something feels tight and constricting and thoughts and feelings and all that, okay, it's not that. It's not that. But in the not that, in the it's not this noise, it keeps opening us to a place not to where we necessarily discover, oh, here it is. The truth has been sitting here the whole time. For me anyway, I mean, maybe it feels like that at times, but for me, it's been more of a like, wow, I don't know. And I don't know. And I don't know that either. It's just what we think we know as the truth continues to fall away. And there's a lot of peace in that. There's a lot of spaciousness. There's a lot of mystery. I mean, I think mystery is what you find. Not knowing is really what you find when you feel like you're shedding the layers of belief and idea and concept and getting closer to something that feels like the truth. It's like a whole open space of mystery, of not knowing. And again, I think that's amazing. It's fun. We love it. It's interesting. It's exhilarating. But to a mind, it sucks because our mind just wants to know what the truth is so we can get on with things already, as if that's going to somehow save us or protect us. So I love your question, Jeff. I think it's a question everyone has asked many times. Like, well, what am I supposed to believe, or what is the truth? And see if you can lean into like it being a completely unanswerable question, and that being sort of the reward in it, in a sense. That being the cool thing about it. Not that we need to find some answer, but that we never will. And there's so much in that. So thank you so much for sending the question. Thanks everyone for being here, watching, and I'll see you back after the holidays. Have a really great holiday season, a really happy new year, and I'll be back in early 2023 with new Ask Amy's. Thanks everyone.